This man's name is Dante, and he works as an insurance agent in Italy. Dante is a very hard worker, and all he thinks about is money, 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 and more money. One night after work, Dante and his girlfriend had plans to celebrate New Year's Eve at a bar. As soon as he arrived, he kissed someone he thought was his girlfriend, but it turned out to be another woman. His girlfriend, who witnessed the scene, got angry and slapped him, and they eventually broke up. However, instead of being distraught after the breakup, Dante approached the woman he had kissed, whose name was Alice, and introduced himself. Since they were both single, they started talking and getting to know each other. From Alice's stories, Dante learned that she was a painter. 2 years later, Dante and Alice were married. On Dante's birthday, Alice made pancakes and wished him a happy birthday. But since Dante was running late for work, he just took a bite and rushed to get ready. Before leaving, Alice asked him to come home early, and Dante agreed. At home, Alice asked her friend for help in planning a surprise birthday party for Dante. However, during the preparations, Dante called and said he wouldn't be able to come home early due to work. Alice was disappointed. That night after work, Dante was surprised to see the birthday party Alice had prepared. When it was time to blow out the candles, Dante didn't pray for health, family, or his wife and parents. He only wished for success. He believed that if he became successful, he would have more free time for his family. The next morning, when Dante woke up, he was confused as to why all the party decorations were gone. When he saw Alice's swollen belly, he was even more confused. At first, he thought she was just wearing a costume. But when Alice told him she was 5 months pregnant, Dante was shocked. Dante tried to remember what happened the night before, but he couldn't recall anything. He was confused as to how Alice could be 5 months pregnant after just celebrating his birthday. Alice showed him a calendar and said, "The birthday party was last year, not last night." Hearing that, Dante was stunned. Thinking her husband was stressed about work, Alice tried to calm him down, suggesting he sleep some more to refresh his mind. Dante agreed. After waking up and seeing that Alice's belly was flat again, Dante felt relieved, thinking it was all just a dream. However, during their conversation, a baby's cry suddenly interrupted them. When they checked, Dante was shocked to find out that Alice's belly was flat because she had given birth. He had no idea when she had delivered, and he even learned that their daughter's name was Galadriel, without knowing when they had decided on that name. Feeling something was off, Dante decided to see a psychiatrist. Based on the consultation results, the psychiatrist diagnosed Dante with a rare syndrome, where the patient would only remember events on specific days. In Dante's case, he would only remember events on his birthday, and everything else would be automatically forgotten. Hearing the psychiatrist's words, Dante resigned himself to his fate. After returning home, since Alice was busy working on a commissioned painting, she asked Dante to take care of their crying baby. After putting their daughter to sleep, Dante was confused when he saw his face with a beard while washing his face in the bathroom. After checking the calendar, he realized that his syndrome had kicked in again due to the change in year. On the porch, when he saw his daughter playing, Dante was shocked. This kid can walk now, and just a few hours ago she was still a baby. In the midst of his confusion, Alice, who didn't know about Dante's syndrome, said, "Maybe you've just realized because you've never had time for your daughter. When we're too focused on one thing, other things can feel new and surprising." Hearing her words, Dante fell silent and reflective. At the city park, Dante confided in his friend Valerio. Although Valerio didn't understand Dante's syndrome, he shared a similar thought with Alice. "Maybe you're not forgetting, but you're just considering things unimportant. Because they're unimportant, you don't think about them and they seem forgotten." As a friend, Valerio knew Dante well. "You've always been too ambitious about success, only thinking about work, work, and more work. Nothing else matters," Valerio advised. "Instead of regretting it later, it's better to start making time for your family now." Suddenly, Dante had an idea. He believed that if he quit his job, his syndrome would be cured. Dante rushed to the office. Upon arrival, he found that the director's office was empty. When he asked the staff, they just laughed at him. Seeing the director's name on the wall, Dante realized he had been promoted to director. His syndrome had kicked in again. He sat down in the director's chair. Although he didn't remember how he got there, Dante was thrilled that his dream had finally come true. He was now a successful man. On his way home from work in his new car, Alice called him. She reminded him, "Don't forget we have marriage counseling today." When they arrived at the counseling session, it turned out their marriage was on the brink of divorce. During therapy, the psychiatrist asked Dante and Alice to express their feelings while hugging a baby doll. Instead of calming down, they began arguing due to their heated relationship. The psychiatrist suggested they separate for a while, not necessarily getting a divorce. It's better for the child, just a temporary separation. Who knows? You might miss each other. Hearing the suggestion, they agreed. When Dante returned home, seeing the empty house, he felt a void in his heart. After reflecting, Dante called Alice and asked her to come home. There's something I want to talk about. Soon after, Dante received a call informing him that his father's condition was severe depression, and he was suicidal. Dante rushed to his father's house. When he met his father, he saw him sitting on the rooftop edge, trying to calm himself down. His father said, at his old age, he felt truly alone. Rather than continue suffering in solitude, he thought it would be better to end his life to join his late wife. Fortunately, after Dante had a heart-to-heart conversation with his father began to calm down. When Dante returned home, he was surprised to see his office assistant, Francesca, cooking in the kitchen. Francesca's behavior was also very affectionate towards him. She explained that they had been dating for 6 months. Dante was shocked, and his syndrome had kicked in again. In the midst of their conversation, Alice arrived, and in a panic, Dante told Francesca to hide in the bathroom. When the door opened, Dante and Alice talked, expressing their longing for each other. Just as they were about to reconcile, Alice became disappointed and left when she discovered another woman in the house. Not only Alice, but Francesca also left upset. Feeling guilty, Dante went to Alice's house to explain everything. When the door opened, he immediately apologized. However, despite his efforts to beg for forgiveness, Alice refused and closed the door. Dante didn't give up and knocked on the door again, but when it opened, he was confused. A stranger appeared and his syndrome had kicked in again. Alice introduced the stranger as her boyfriend, Omar. Dante felt jealous. Coincidentally, Alice asked Dante to take Galadriel to the park to play. When he found out that his daughter was now in 1st grade, Dante was shocked. It meant he had unknowingly missed 7 years of her life without remembering anything. They went to the park, and Dante asked Galadriel about her opinion on Alice's new boyfriend. Innocently, Galadriel replied, she actually likes Dad more than her current boyfriend. Unfortunately, Dad is always busy with work and never has time to play with her. Dante felt guilty. As an apology, he promised to buy Galadriel anything she wanted. However, Galadriel didn't want anything material. She just wanted her father to have time for her. Hearing the word time, Dante fell silent and reflective. After returning from the park, Alice's boyfriend gave him some advice. He cautioned against being too focused on the worldly pursuits. Remember, this world is temporary, not forever. Success and wealth are important, but ultimately, they are temporary. There are 2 days we can't control, yesterday and tomorrow. Even today is not fully within our control. All we can control is the present moment. Although Dante disliked being lectured by Alice's boyfriend, he felt a sting from the words. At the park, Dante confided in Valerio about his family problems at length. During their conversation, Dante felt strange seeing Valerio wearing a beanie. When it turned out Valerio was bald, he revealed that he had cancer, and the doctor said his chances of recovery were 50%. Dante felt sad, realizing he had forgotten not just his family but also his best friend's condition. Before parting ways, Dante urged Valerio to keep fighting to cure his cancer. Don't give up, he promised. When you're cured, I'll make time to take you to ride roller coasters. Hearing this promise, Valerio's expression seemed disbelieving. He didn't believe Dante would make time for him. After parting ways, Dante went to an art exhibition. There, when he saw Alice's paintings, he was suddenly reminded of all the beautiful memories they shared. After reflecting on all his mistakes, Dante went to his father's house. Looking at his father's old face, Dante apologized for never having time for him. He was always busy chasing success and forgot about the people who mattered in his life. Now Dante realized that happiness wasn't just about money, but also health, family, and time. During their conversation, his father coughed severely, and Dante rushed to get him a drink. However, his syndrome kicked in again when he found out his father had passed away. Dante was deeply regretful, not remembering when his father died. Before heading home, Dante remembered Valerio's illness. When he called, Valerio had been waiting in the car. Seeing his friend recovered from cancer, Dante felt relieved. As promised, Dante took Valerio to ride roller coasters before heading home. After finishing the ride, Dante received a call from the office about an important meeting. Feeling fed up, Dante planned to take a leave. He borrowed Valerio's car and went to the office. On the way, Dante called Alice. Since it was his birthday, he wanted to celebrate with Alice and Galadriel. Alice happily agreed. Upon arriving at the office while all the staff were in a meeting, Dante bluntly announced that he would take a long leave starting immediately. The staff protested. "We're about to close a big deal with a client and now you're taking a leave." Dante casually replied, "I don't care." Hearing that, the staff fell silent. After leaving the office, when he met Galadriel, Dante was delighted to see that Alice had brought a pet dog as a gift for their daughter. Before heading out, Alice asked, "Where are we going, and what are we doing?" Dante replied, "Today, I don't want to do anything or go anywhere. I just want to spend time at home with our family." The next morning, when Dante woke up, he initially thought his syndrome had kicked in again. But seeing Alice and Galadriel happily making pancakes in the kitchen, Dante was confused when he checked the calendar. He was overjoyed to realize his syndrome was cured. In that moment, Dante apologized to Alice for never having time for her. "If Alice still has love for me and is willing to give me another chance, I promise to change starting now." He also told her that he had taken a long leave just for her and Galadriel. Seeing Dante's sincerity, Alice's heart melted and they reconciled. Before eating, since the pancakes were still hot, Dante told Galadriel to count to 10 before they ate. As they counted together, every second felt precious. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Amri Film channel so you don't miss the next movie recaps.